So disclaimer for two things. First off, this is like a new format I'm trying out, where I have gameplay footage that's kind of unrelated to what I'm talking about. And like this main video on my like side channel. This is my side channel. Hello, my main channel is like ADP3, whatever. But it's kind of like a new thing I'm trying out where I can get out my thoughts on like random more topical events more quickly while I have like gameplay of whatever game I'm playing in the background that's like not really related to what I'm talking about. For this video is kind of related to what I'm talking about. Because Sonic, and I think I have the Sonic Generations, Sonic Get Shadow Generations footage or gameplay in the background, particularly with the movie DLC that came out I think last week during the Game Awards. So this kind of relates to what I'm talking about. But if I do these kind of videos in the future, I'm hoping I will because I have some ideas. The gameplay may not always relate to what I'm talking about. But this is kind of just a new format. This is going to be the first of its kind. And then two, I might sound a little off because I'm sick. And me being sick may or may not be the reason why you're not seeing a lot of videos on my main channel. It's not the only reason. I'm also just lazy and procrastinating a lot. But it is causing some discrepancy with some of the videos that I'm actually working on right now. So yeah, that's another situation. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk. You're here to hear my thoughts about Sonic 3, which they're very very good, which we'll get into. This is mostly unscripted. I probably should have wrote down my thoughts, but it's just too much work, and I don't really feel like doing that. And I need to go to bed soon because I gotta wake up early for work. Anyway, this is a bad idea. But anyway, so I got out of watching Sonic 3, like the little fan event that they had, like 5 hours ago. So I've had a little bit of time to digest this movie. I did watch the other two movies before, and I've seen them like multiple times. This is probably my third time seeing the other two Sonic movies after yesterday. And I, as a huge Sonic fan, I say I'm a decently sized Sonic fan. I'm not as big as a Sonic fan as some other people, but I can call my I've been a part of the franchise and the fandom enough to say that I'm a decently sized Sonic fan. I'm a huge fan of the movies, but in the sense that it's like these are perfectly fine movies, but are nothing more than just what they are, which are good, like entertaining kids movies. And I'm not above the argument that kids movies can't be like more than kids movies because I one of my biggest my favorite movie company of all time is Pixar, at least when they were in their prime, not so much in recent years. But Pixar makes incredible just family films made for the entire family that kids can get entertained by the fun visuals and the goofy characters, but the adults can watch it and get actual like content out of it, like Finding Nemo, the Toy Story movies, The Incredibles especially. Oh my God, The Incredibles is such a great just movie in general that just the entire family can enjoy. But the Sonic movies aren't on those level. On that level, and that's fine. Like I don't think the Sonic franchise, while it has aspects in the franchise itself that does elevate it above just normal kid stuff. I think for what the Sonic movies are trying to do, which is trying to sell this franchise, this character, and his friends to a massive audience. I think what the movies are doing, the first two movies at least, and even the TV show, Deadpool TV show to a certain extent, what they're doing is fine. Like they've done their job, which is entertain families and for Sonic fans like myself, do it in a way that pays respect to these characters that have not really gotten a lot of respect from their parent company, from Sega, in a really long time. So I think the Sonic movies, the first two, definitely have done their jobs. And when we found out that Shadow was going to be in the third movie, like obviously I was very excited. And I personally didn't grow up with the Sonic Adventure 2 storyline. Like I think I played the game after playing Generations because mostly grew up with the later Boost games like Colors, Unleashed, Generations, those games. I didn't grow up with Adventure 2. But when I played it the first time as a kid, I enjoyed it a lot. Like I thought it was great. I didn't really know that the Sonic franchise can get as serious as it did with Adventure Two, and even though Adventure Two has its like issues, like it doesn't age the best when it comes to its sound mixing, and some of its acting is a little wonky. I thought the story itself was really solid, and also the gameplay was, particularly the Sonic and Shadow levels. But we're not gonna talk about the gameplay right now. We're talking about story for right now. So the fact that they are adapting this beloved story by all these Sonic fans, like I said, the story is very very good for what it is. It's a very tall glass to order, and very tall glass to fill or whatever. And I didn't know if they could pull it off. We got the first trailer, and I was hyped. Like, obviously, that first trailer of Shadow beating the crap out of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, like, that was just so hyped to see, and especially after not seeing any footage from it. I didn't even know if Keanu was actually going to be Shadow, because we got confirmation from some guy who leaked it earlier this year, but Paramount themselves didn't really confirm that Keanu was going to be Shadow until like the day before the first trailer dropped. And I saw a glimmer of hope that this movie could have been something amazing, but then reality sunk in. I was like, wait a minute, these are the same guys that made Sonic 1 and 2, and like I just said, those are great movies, but they're really only a step above like the Alvin and Chipmunk movies, and that's kind of insulting to the the Sonic movies a little bit, but like they're not like the Alvin and Chipmunk movies in the sense that they actually do care about the characters and the source material, but in terms of its humor and like the audience that they're directing, which are little kids, it definitely has the feel of the Alvin and Chipmunks movies. But after watching this movie, I can safely say that this is the best Sonic movie, and I can say that like unironically, like this is actually like a decently good movie. And I could be smoking copium, like don't. I'm not gonna hold you. I could be smoking copium. This is recently biased, but I say this is on par with one of the better kids movies, like one of the better Disney or DreamWorks kids movies. Like literally everything that they could have elevated from the two movies, the previous two movies, have been elevated. Like the cinematography, the action, the animation, the acting. Like Jim Carrey, like oh my god, like he does the same stuff that he's been doing in the other two movies, but now there's two of them. Like he's playing two roles, and he plays them both immaculately. Particularly Gerald Robotnik's version his version of Gerald Robotnik is so good. Like he's still as goofy as the younger Robotnik, but like there's obvious starkness to him, like there is to the games. Like he deals with a lot of pain that he expresses in his own unique way, and just the things that his motivation and the things that he does in this movie is pretty dark, and especially for a kids movie, and especially for what the original source material is. Like the original source material, like it goes into dark places and they don't shy away from it. But like Shadow, who's like the main, like he's pretty much the main focal point of this story, this movie. They nailed him, man. Like I can't. I don't think I could have been any more satisfied with the way that they portrayed this beloved character. Like Shadow, to me, like I wouldn't say he was always my favorite character in the Sonic franchise. I loved his design. I liked his like dynamic with like Sonic, who is my favorite Sonic character, which I know that's like, water's wet, vanilla is my favorite flavor, whatever. But I liked what he brought to the franchise, but I would never really said he was I never would ever say he was my favorite character. But after this year of like Shadow, of like Sega propping him up, making him like the main character of the Sonic franchise for this year, with like his own game, like all this merchandise that they've given him, all that stuff, I can see the appeal to Shadow a lot more than I did in previous years. And this movie definitely did his story and his character justice. And Keanu does an amazing job. Keanu isn't someone that I would say is like one of the most amazing actors. He's a very iconic actor. And when he tries, he does a great job. I think in recent years, his performance in Cyberpunk, which is also a property that Idris Idris Elba is also in, which is kind of cool that they're both in Cyberpunk and now they're both in the Sonic franchise. I think his portrayal of Johnny Silverhand was really well done. But other than that, I don't think he's not really a guy that really acts. He's a guy that conveys emotion and intensity, especially in the John Wick films and in the Matrix movies. He's kind of the guy that just is just the guy you get for if you want like a good action hero, like a good person to move the plot. But in this movie, his version of Shadow is so good. Like he brings out his dramatic moments, his tragedy, his sadness, but also the intensity and like the fear that these characters have of Shadow. Like the trailer pretty much portrayed what Shadow does to the major characters, Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. It portrays what he does to them pretty well, and it's cut to the trailer cut it a little bit more nightly. It cut it a little. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The trailer didn't show everything, which I really appreciate. I really thought the trailer just showed the entire scene because this is how well cut it was. But no, the scene was a lot longer, and he puts them all through the ringer, which is really cool. He put Sonic through the ringer a couple times in the movie, and like every action scene with him is so well done, so well acted, so well animated, and all that stuff. Like I think a lot of the early reviewers. When they said that this is the closest thing we'll get to live action DBZ, which I'm also currently watching. I'm currently watching Dragon Ball Z Kai for the first time, which I'm enjoying quite a bit, which I might talk about this on the channel, so you might want to stick around for that. But I definitely see that, especially in the final act, which is like, oh my god, the final act of this movie is so good. And the build up to it was done very well. But this is probably, I can agree I can see how people are saying this is the closest thing we'll get to like a live action Sonic or live action Dragon Ball Z film. But speaking on the other things, like the story, like they follow the source material really closely, but they also do their own thing. Like it's not like a beat for beat remake of Sonic Adventure 2, but they take enough from it to bring out the important moments from it and bring out why that story is so special to Sonic fans, but also contextualize it in this universe that's already been established and makes into its own thing. It's just such a great movie, and it's such a, like, more so than the second movie. This is a love letter to Sonic fans, but it also is a love letter that could be digested by anybody. Like I want to take my family who they know jack about the Sonic universe. They know a lot about the Sonic universe through the other two movies. We've watched the other two movies together, but I think they'll still enjoy this movie as much as I did because it's so well done, it's so well told. And just to briefly go over everything else, like just Ben Schwartz as Sonic, he does his, like, the best he's ever done as his character. It's obvious that he loves this world and this character, and he wants to do more. Like this is the best he's done with the Idris Elba. I hope I said his name right. I always mess up his name when I talk about his name in front of my friends, but he does a great job as Knuckles. Colleen O'Shaughnessy does a great job as Tails, as she does in the games. All the human characters do a great job. I'm a little disappointed that even though they weren't really that detrimental in Sonic 2, Samir Moore, and I can't remember the Tika Sumpter's sister. They actually, this is a little bit of a spoiler, but they aren't in the movie. I won't really reveal how they are in the movie, but they aren't who they are in the movie, which is a little disappointing because I saw that they're in the posters, like, oh, they're coming back and they're part of Gun, so that's pretty cool that they're part of Gun. They're going to give them more important roles, but they're not really in the movie, which is a little disappointing. But I think the way that they are in the movie is pretty creative, and I also like how they implement the human characters. Like I like that the filmmakers are recognizing that we're kind of here to see the legacy characters. Like we're here to see Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Shadow, and the Robotniks and all those people. And I like that they're putting them more center stage, and they're having like the human characters be the support and not really like the main focus. But yeah, like just everything about this movie, the music. Oh my god, the music was so good. Like without really spoiling what they do with the music, this is probably the best score that Junkie XL has done. He actually emulates the soundtrack and the tracks from the original games very well. Not to the level of like Brian Tyler does in the Mario movie, but it's I won't say it's close enough because that will probably over hype what he does with the score, but it's done to in a way that's respectful to the source material. It makes you remember those moments that they're emulating from the games in the movie, and it is done. It's done so well. It's done so perfectly. Like when I'm telling you that final act, the final act of this movie is done so perfectly. Like I wouldn't change a thing about how they handled that whole entire sequence. It's just, it was mind blowing that I'm seeing something like something from my childhood done so like respectfully. It's just mind blowing. I think my only criticism with this movie, I didn't say this before. This movie is probably the most well paced of the three movies. But it is paced a little too quickly for my taste. Like there's really no time to breathe. There's no downtime for the characters to really digest what's happening to them. The plot's just kind of going at a breakneck speed, to the point where I'm not really processing what's happening. I'm just kind of like anticipating what's going to happen next, which isn't a bad problem to have, mind you. It's a great problem to have, honestly. That the fact that this movie it knows what kind of story it's trying to tell, and it is so excited to show you what's happening, what's going to happen next, and it's just so excited to tell the story. And you can feel the passion that the film creators have for this type of story. For the story they're telling to this audience, and to finally give it to us in this way. It's just the filmmakers like Jeff Fowler and his team, they knew that they had something special with this story, and they're really excited to finally present it in the way that they did. And I can't be happier with how they portrayed it. Like the characterization with the Robotniks, the characterization with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, characterizations with even the human characters, like their role in springboarding Sonic and his friends off into their journey. It was just all well done, and I honestly couldn't have asked for a better movie. But yeah, this is a solid movie. If you're a huge fan of Sonic, I highly recommend it. You're probably already gonna go ahead and watch it. Like my rambled, like snuffy, flu written review of this movie probably won't convince you to watch it, but I hope you do. And of course, the mid-credit scene. Oh my god, it was so hype. I always knew it was gonna be one of two characters, and I was really hoping it's gonna be one character. But the character that they chose and the way that they presented that character got me really hyped that it was this character. And like I'm actually very excited to see what the direction they take the Sonic movie for, because they just confirmed that like literally after I got the movie theater, they confirmed that Sonic movie 4 was in production, which is awesome. Yeah, I don't want to ramble on too much. I think I gave all my big thoughts on this, but yeah, please watch this movie if you can, and look forward to more content on this channel and on my main channel. Subscribe to both. I'm working on some videos right now, and I hopefully you'll see them at some point in the near future. I can't really promise a day or a day, a month, or a certain time period. I have a deadline for myself for when I want them to come out, but I'm not going to say that in fear of like dating my video or dating this video. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and look forward to more content. See you guys in the next one. Bye.